Are you a drug addict? And when I'm talking about a drug addict, I'm talking about, are you addicted to dopamine? Are you addicted to doing it on the cuff? Do you like to put yourself in an emergency situation just so you can get yourself out of it and enjoy the natural high that gives you? You know, so many of the issues, the challenges, the problems in my life have been because I've been addicted. I don't know if it's dopamine, but it's something. It's some sort of a drug that I enjoy just living off the cuff. Hey, just as it comes, let's just go for it. Let's just shoot for it. And so I've ended up finding massive success and effectiveness. The results have been tremendous, and that is from something. When I think about it and organize it, I can organize it in a program. I call it the CPA Framework. Doesn't that sound boring? There's nothing that sounds more boring than the CPA Framework, and it is. It's going to take the drugs and dopamine out of your life and your actions. And so when I've done that, when I do that in my life, the results are tremendous. And my family, my friends, my mentors, they're seeing the difference as I've been applying this over the last few years. And so what is it that I'm talking about? What am I sharing? And so let me just share with you a couple of situations. We can talk about business, adding revenue to the business. That's kind of boring, but at the same time, it's exciting. If you're in an emergency situation, it's very, please tell me, Tim, how do you add millions of dollars of business? What I want to share is a situation in my life where I literally was at, a few years ago, I was at the North Pole. Not at the North Pole, I was at the Arctic Circle. And it was 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It was negative 20 degrees outside the car. I was in shorts. You know, I live at the beach, and it's a beautiful area and warm. The reason I'm here is I like to swim every day and it's warm. And I'm running out of fuel. I noticed, you know, at 45 miles to empty, I started looking for gas stations, and it's just getting worse and worse because I'm in a natural preservation Inuit reservation, and it's getting down. And so I'm like, oh, I got to get to a gas station. So I'm thinking I need to go faster. And so eventually I say, wait a second, I know better. And I said, could be the most important decision that I make today, this week, maybe of my life. And so I said, you know, I'm going to take advantage of this technique that I'm aware of, and I'm going to apply it. And so I said, you know, I'm going to rest for 10 minutes. I'm going to relax for 10 minutes before I make a decision on what to do. And so that's what I did. I literally just pulled over and said, I'm just going to take like a little breather, a little nap, and just see, you know, just relax. And when I did, I pulled over, relaxed, and when I did, it hit me. I said, maybe I could, you know, I had no cell phone. That was the other thing. You know, you think, oh wow, just you grab your phone. But there was where I was in the middle of nowhere. There was no cell phone service. I did not have cell phone service. So then after maybe 7 minutes, 5 minutes, sitting there relaxing, I said, you know what? What about Wi-Fi? I said, but I'm out in the middle of nowhere. There's snow everywhere. It's just crazy. So I got my PC out, my computer. I had a laptop with me, and I fired it up. And sure enough, there was an open network. Turned out there was a house under a tree and under some snow. I couldn't really see it, but anyway, I got access. It was open, so there was that was another lucky thing. But there was it wasn't locked, and so I was able to get access to the Wi-Fi. And then I was able to find a hardware store that was 15 miles. It was literally 15 miles in the different direction than the way I was going. And I think they said they opened it. I think it said they were open actually. And so it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, oh wow. So I said, well, I was like 20 miles. At this point, I was about 20 miles to empty. I was 20 miles to empty. So I was like, oh, okay, I can make it there. I can make it. So I ended up driving over there. They actually were not open, and they were a one pump hardware store with that sold gasoline in the middle of nowhere. It's like a general store type thing with one pump for gasoline. And so what I did, they weren't open, which I didn't really think, even though it said online they were going to be open. And where I was going to be surprised if they were open. But anyway, so I parked the car. I thought I was going to run out of fuel, and so I parked the car on the pump so that if I did run out of gas, I would be there when they opened up in the morning, and then I could purchase fuel. So anyway, and I just sat there with the heater going and running, and it ran. So I was very lucky. The guy got there, the opening clerk or whoever got there at 5 o'clock, but he wouldn't sell me any gas yet. He said he had to open up the store and everything. So it was probably 5:20, 5:25. Then he got around to me, and then he opened the pumps up, and then I was able to get gas, and I was on my way. What I'm sharing, though, is how that formula, the CPA formula, applied to me in this situation, how it saved my butt in that situation. And so what the CPA stands for is three things. So the first one is calm, pack. I'll go through. It's calm, pack, and action. And so the first one is you want to be calm before you make a decision. And so I knew that I was facing a big decision, so I was like, I need to get myself into a calm state. Let's not be reactive. Let's think with a frontal cortex. Let's relax, and think calmly. And so I did that. The second thing is you want to. The second part of this framework is pack what you need. Pack what you need for the trip. And in this situation, if I'd had enough gas and packed ahead of time, I wouldn't have had the problem. And then, and so I'm suggesting be sure that you pack what you need. And then the last one, before you take action, think about it. And so you only want to, all action, be thoughtful with it. And so the action that I did take, going to that store, I'd already thought about it, and then I did take the action. It was really helpful. In other areas I can share with you, and I'll share other stories about how I've used this to make millions of dollars for my clients and myself. Also, a big part of this learning and allowing me to change was Blair Dunkley. And he's a behaviorist, and if you're interested in learning more about how I use this framework and how I got myself into a position that I could use the framework, you want to check out some of the work of Blair Dunkley, and you can find him blairdunkley.com. Also on Tuesday evenings, he has a thing on Facebook and I think YouTube. It's called the Blair Dunkley Experience, and he can walk you through so much of this, and it's just been incredible. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you got a great product, jump on my schedule at timforrestmarkets.com. Have a great day.